All right, we're going to talk about how to fill out the Form 8863 and talk about the education credits. What I'm going to use is a little problem that's from your Group 2 problems in the book, and I'm going to modify it. So here it talks about Janie graduates from high school in 2022, enrolls in college in the fall. Parents pay $4,000 for her tuition and fees. Now we're going to go ahead and assume that Janie's parents are claiming her, and so therefore they'll get to be able to take whatever credit. Now since she's in the first 4 years of college, she's just starting college, they will be able to take the American Opportunity Credit for Janie's stuff that they're paying. If they have too high of AGI, like with this situation here, they may not be able to take all of it or any of it, depending on how high it is. And here with the 75,000, that AGI, that is okay, and they will be able to take the credit. And the education credit is divided, 40% of it is a refundable credit, which is wonderful, and the other part of it is non-refundable. Now, I'm also going to pretend that there's a son, and his name is Johnny, and he also is in college, but he's only taking one class per semester, and so he is only part-time, so he will not be able to the parents will not be able to take American Opportunity Tax Credit on Johnny because he is not at least half-time. All right, and we're going to say that that they paid $2,000 for his tuition and that there was no Pell Grant or anything, whereas the parents paid $4,000, but the tuition was $5,000, and there was $1,000 of so the tuition was $5,000 for Janie, and but she had some kind of Pell Grant or scholarship of $1,000, and so the parents paid the other $4,000 out of pocket, and it's the out of pocket part that you can get a credit for, not the total up here. However, we can add books. So if Janie spent $500 in books, we would take this $5,000 of tuition minus the $1,000 that was paid by Pell Grant or scholarship. So that leaves $4,000 plus the $500 of books. So the total for Janie will be $4,500. And it's checked off here that she is at least a half-time student. The college name and address would be here. The college's identification number would be there, and the student's ID would be here. Here is a 1098-T for Johnny, and he also went, same college, but here is his, and he paid, the parents paid $2,000 for him. He didn't have any scholarships. Note that the half-time student is not checked. Okay, there's also a checkbox if it's a grad student. You can't do American Opportunity Credit if it's a grad student. Okay, so now we want to be able to fill out the 8863 form, and some of that is we'll need the AGI and stuff. So I have on the 1040, I started it with the parents, married filing joint, John and Jane, social security numbers. Here's the kids that are listed, and they're both college age, so they're over 17, so there's checked off for credit for other dependents. Here's their $75,000. I just went ahead and assumed it was all wages, so that's their AGI minus their married filing joint, standard deduction. So they have taxable income of $49,100, and the tax for that is $54.84 when I look it up. Okay, they have $1,000 of credit for other dependents. That's $500 a piece for each of the two kids. Let me see, I've got to take the rest of this out though, because we're not done with that. Okay, and then I just pretended that they had $4,000 withheld from their wages, and I put that in there. So the rest of this, then we need to figure out the 8863, and then that way we can figure out how much is going to go on Schedule 3 for the non-refundable part of the American Opportunity Credit, plus for Johnny, they can get the Lifetime Learning Credit, which is also non-refundable. So those will end up there. And then the refundable part of the American Opportunity Credit here is on line 29, and that will show that amount. So our next step then is to go into the 8863. And so I've got the names and social security numbers on there. And it says we need to complete a separate Part 3 for each student. Okay, so, and we have to do that first before we come up here to Part 1. So, on the back is Part 3. And we're only going to do one student for this. Then I'll have to get another page of this for Johnny. Okay? So I'm going to go Janie first. So that's Janie Jansen and her social security number. Okay, the name of the college. I'm just going to put OC Tech, and you would have the address. There's a name for a second college if she went to two different colleges. Okay. Did the student receive a Form 1098-T from this institution for 2022? If you don't have a 1098-T, you cannot take this credit. Okay. So the answer is yes. Did she receive one last year? Well, no. She was in high school last year. So that's a no. Enter the institution's employer ID number. That comes from the 1098-T. Okay. Number 23 is the American Opportunity Credit being claimed for the student for any 4 prior years? No. Go to line 24. Was the student enrolled at least half time for at least 1 semester? Okay, yes. Go to line 25. Did the student complete the first 4 years of post-secondary? Secondary school is high school, so post means after. So first 4 years of after high school education? No. Go to line 26. Was the student convicted for possession of a controlled substance? And we're going to assume no. Okay, then we go down, so it says complete lines 27 through 30 for this student. Okay, so if you had any of these where it said yes, stop, go to line 31. Line 31 is for the Lifetime Learning Credit. So you can only do the American opportunity credit if you correctly answered these, and it tells you to go there. Line 27, adjusted qualified education expenses. Do not enter more than $4,000. Well, we took, remember, the $5,000 of tuition minus the $1,000 that scholarship paid plus the $500 of books. And so that's $4,500, but that's more than $4,000. So we're going to put the max down of the $4,000. Line 28, subtract $2,000 from line 27. So $4,000 minus $2,000 is $2,000. Line 29, multiply line 28 by 25%. That's 500. And line 30, if line 28 is 0, enter the amount from line 27. Otherwise, add 2,000 to the amount on line 29. So 500 plus 2,000 is 2,500. Okay? And include the total of all amounts from parts 3, line 30, on part 1, line 1. Okay? Okay, so here's, after completing part 3 for each student, enter the total amount from all parts 3, line 30. Now, we haven't done Johnny's, but we already know that Johnny can't do American Opportunity Credit. Okay, Johnny can only do Lifetime Learning Credit. Now, I'm going to have to get another form for doing Johnny. So I'm going to pull up another Form 8863. Of course, you would put the parent's name and social security number on there. And actually, you don't even need to do this front page. You can just scrap that and just do this back. This back page is all we really need. So John and Jane Jansen. Can't remember, but whatever the social security number is for John. Okay, student name is Johnny. Son, his social security number. Okay, you would put in the name of the college from the 1098T and the address. Did the student receive a 1098T? Yes. Did they receive one last year? We'll say no. But if it was yes, that's fine. Okay, but you have to look and see if something from last year on box 7 was. Okay. Has the American Opportunity Credit been claimed for this student for any 4 prior years? So we'll say no, he hasn't done that. Was the student enrolled at least half time? Okay, no. It says stop. Go to line 31 for this student. So the student cannot use American Opportunity Credit because they were not at least half time. So we go to line 31. It says adjusted qualified education expense, include the total all amounts from all parts 3, line 31, and part 2, line 10. Okay, so his qualified education expenses was the $2,000 from his 1098T that he paid. Okay, and we're going to put this on part 2, line 10. But we're going to put it on the original 8863 where we had Janie's stuff. So, because we're only going to use one first page, even though we have multiple second pages filled out. So this was line 10. After completing part 3 for each student, enter the total of all amounts from all parts 3, line 31. Okay, and so that was